Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today I thought I'd do a quick little LOLA restoration update. As you know, I've been rather busy at the moment, but I have found a few spare half hours and what have you to play with the Land Rover, and I thought I'd just show you what progress I've made. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but if we look here, we do actually have the turbo installed, and it is clocked. Basically what I mean by that is originally on this turbo, when it was fitted in the Land Rover Discovery, that part there actually faced like out here. It had a pipe that went off it and it went to the intercooler over there. It was all piped up like that. Now in this application, that actually was basically pointing down there. There was no way you could really successfully get a hose on it. So what I did is, it's called clocking. I basically took the turbo apart. This mounting bracket here is there's holes for it in a different position over here. Basically I spun it round, remarked it, drilled the house in, tapped it to take that bracket in the new position, turned the whole turbo round and refitted the circlip at the back in this new position, which obviously means that the output there is now in a much more sensible position for what we want to do. Other people put it in all sorts of different positions, provided it's not obstructed by the chassis rail. I think that's really down to whoever's doing the individual conversion. I wanted it up there because I've got an idea what I'm going to do, because I am decided I'm going to run this thing with an intercooler. I'll go into that in a minute or two. But so yeah, I actually got the turbo back together. I had an absolute mare of a job with it. It come apart fairly easy enough, and you've got a massive circlip on the back here which holds the two halves of the turbo together. And I managed to get that off with a couple of screwdrivers, and with it sat in my vise, got a couple of screwdrivers on it, and I managed to whip that off. And I did all the work and I reassembled it, and then could I get that bloody circlip back in? I didn't have any commercial circuit pliers big enough to actually compress it to get it back in position. I went online for some, and the cheapest I could find that was actually big enough were about 70 odd quid. And I was down in my local auto factors, K&C Auto Factors in Hyde. Very, very good place for some very, very, very knowledgeable older people in there that really know this old stuff. And he came up with a brilliant idea. He said, have you got an old pair of mole grips? Which I had, which weren't very good. They didn't really, they were basically, the ratchets on them were badly worn. And he said, take a couple of nails. So you've got a welder, haven't you? Well, obviously I've got a welder. I work on Land Rovers, you have to have a welder. He said, take a couple of nails. He said, tack them onto the jaws of the old mole grips. He said, only leaving about 1/4 of an inch of nail showing. And so then you've made yourself a pair of circlip pliers. And that's exactly what I did. I would love to show you them, but I put them down somewhere and I can't find the bloody things at all. But yeah, that's basically what I did. I made my own large industrial circuit pliers, pinged the circlip back in, and like I said, that's it all mounted up. What I have had to do is I've had to trim, if you look at that engine mount down there, I have had to trim one wing off it, just trim it off there, so I've got some clearance, because the turbo was basically touching it. So I've just took that off and just smoothed it off, so it's nice and safe. It's all smoothed around there, so I'm not going to catch myself in the future. And we'll get a little bit of paint on it. But yeah, we've got a nice clearance there, because obviously the engine does rock on its mounts. Not very much, because these are a nice solid diesel mount. And the diesel, they're good solid mount. Yeah, they're I think they're late series 3 diesel mounts. So they should be all good, okay with the vibration. It's not going to move around, it's not going to strike it. So yeah, we've got the turbo mounted there, and then all I've been really doing, let's get you, oops, that's the wrong way. And after I'd done that, this is basically, I did that a couple of weeks ago when I got a spare half an hour, and what I've been messing with today is I've put this wing on, basically so I can just eyeball up where some of the things are going to fit. Like if we look here, that's That's the diesel filter. That's the diesel filter off the old Land Rover Discovery. And on the Land Rover Discovery, that would have been mounted on the bulkhead. But I thought it's going to be a bit crowded up there, really. It would have originally been mounted sort of up behind the engine in this location here. But I want to keep that clear over there, and I thought that was a much better position for it. It's actually slightly easier to get to the plug on the bottom of it over there. And basically you've got the drain plug on the bottom of it here, and even when I've got all the radiator in, that's going to be easy enough to get to. It should work fine there. Technically, I suppose it should be slightly higher than the. Yeah, it's high. It's higher enough than the pump that it's not going to be a problem. I will have to now start making some. The whole reason I've done this is so I can start figuring stuff like this out. Obviously, that's the original hose that would have hooked up to it. We'll need to make a longer one to connect up to it there. Now these are interesting. These are for the oil cooler, because obviously it is. It's got an intercooler and an oil cooler on the 200 TDI when it's used in the Discovery. And initially, I wasn't going to use this. I was going to ditch it. But I thought, why bother? It will prolong the life of the engine. It means the engine's running less stress, it's getting less hot. But what I am going to probably do is I'm going to take the old Land Rover Discovery radiator, intercooler and oil cooler system apart, make some new brackets up and mount the oil cooler back here somewhere. So it won't probably get as much airflow as it would have done in the Discovery, but it should work, and it means I don't have to make any new pipes up, because it is quite expensive to get these made up. And I'm hoping it's going to work. It might not, I might have to rethink it, but I was hoping it might work, fitting it in around here somewhere. And what I'll do is I'll do the same on this side. When I've got the other wing on this side here, I'll have a look about doing something similar with the intercooler. I have heard that you can pop easier actually to use a 300 TDI intercooler, and I think you have to modify one of the ports on it, and that'd work quite well. But that's basically what I'm up to at the moment. We're not actually that far from being able to fire this engine up. I mean, even when we haven't got the cooling system there, once I've got the fuel system rigged up, we will probably go for a first start. I think the Land Rover that this came out of was last on the road about 2007. So I mean, it's been off the road since. It's not run that engine in 10 years, but it didn't come off the road because of an engine fault. The Land Rover came off the road because it was the gearbox had gone and it was terminally rotten. The engine is absolutely, well, it was in A1 condition when it was plucked out of the Discovery, so hopefully, and it's always been kept in a reasonably warm, very dry garage, so I can't see any reasons why it's not going to run. I will then, of course, as soon as it is running, look about changing the timing belt on it, because I don't want to run it with for very long with an old timing belt like that. I won't rev it up either. I just want to make sure it does actually run in the car, and then we can start addressing some of the other things, and then the water system, cooling, all the other nice fun things we've got to do before we can get this thing back on the road. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. Like I said, it was just another quick, super quick LOLA update. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.